course, the major problem we have with the receipt is it's a receipt, so there should be numbers on there for how much you've given the company to hire the DVDs, and this doesn't. It just has magic roundabout in this particular case. So let's have a think about this now. We need to add another field. I'm going to press yes to that one because I've put that create receipt on there. And let's go back to our tables. And quite clearly, in the DVD title table, we're going to need a price. So I'm thinking, better go back in here, and we'll put price, do it per night. Yeah, we'll do per night. And we'll just assume for this moment in time, we'll make a currency here, and we're going to assume for this moment in time that you can only hire a DVD for one night. So I'm going to pop back in there, and let's make Wizard of Oz, that's a cheap one, that can be £1. And Superbad, that was quite a recent one. Well, in my book it was. Frankie Boyle can only be £2.50. Oh. And Magic Random, that can be £1 as well. And Slumdog, oh, that's brand new, oh, that's £3, that one. It's not even out yet. So yeah, so that's that dealt with. So right, let's close that. And we really need to go back into our query of receipt. And let's just do that in design view. And of course, we find that we have a price per night, which I'm going to also add to the query. We'll close that down. Yes, and let's go back to the report now, and let's see if we can, in our design view of our report, we've got a price per night. So we can click on that, and we can drag. I'm going to pop that there. Now, if I just show you what happens here for a moment, the reason why it's doing that is because I don't have the form open. If I now open the order form, so it's on order ID number 1, and as you can see there are actually 6 things in there. If I now go back to the receipt and go to preview, it's going to be okay because it picks up the whole thing. We've got price per night, price per night, price per night. It's a bit of a pain in that one. So what we're going to do is, I think we'll get rid of that label of price per night. I'm just going to move that to there. And we have something that begins to make sense, but of course it's a receipt, therefore what we'd want is the total figure down the bottom here. So how do we do that? Well, actually it's very simple really. What I'm going to do is, I'm deliberately going to do this wrong. You're thinking page footer, so I'm just going to delete this stuff here because you're thinking, well, that's got to go below that, so we'll put a little unbound box in here, and I'm just going to change text 27 to total, and we'll come to the unbound here, and what we're going to do is we're going to say it's the sum of all of these price per nights. So if I right click and go to properties, and I go to control source and press my 3 little dots here, what I can do is, using our functions, built-in functions, I'm going to come over, I'm just going to press S on my keyboard, click here and press S, it takes me down to second, and I scroll around a little further, I can find, there it is, sum. This is sum EXPR. Well, what it's saying is sum of what? EXPR of what? What do you want to sum up? Well, I'm going to go in the EXPR, and I'm going to go to my reports, loaded reports that I'm on, and I'm going to say the sum please of price per nights. Double click. Okay. Now you're thinking that's fantastic, that makes sense. Let's run the thingy, and you're thinking total error. Yeah, that's in the page footer. So you've got this report footer here. Doesn't look like I've got one. If I just expand that very slightly, grab those, and I'll drag and pop those there. Look what happens now. Total 11. Oh dear. A little bit of tidying up to do. And what we're going to have to do, just select it, properties, and we're going to go format. And I think we're going to make that a currency. Looking pretty good. Decimal places. Do we think 2? I think so. And I think we're going to click away. Let's try that again. £11. There we go. So that's a more sensible receipt, isn't it? You have the name, you've got the things they've hired out, and you've got the total amount of money that they've spent. There is a problem with this particular method that we'll talk about a lot later on. The problem that you have is that if, for example, in say 2 years' time, the Superbad goes down to it's £1, or not Superbad, I haven't got it on there. Frankie Boyle Live goes down as £1 to hire out. If you then to produce receipts of this one, if you then updated the Frankie Boyles to £1, this would change. So do you see what I mean? So in a year's time, because you've got Frankie Boyle Live twice at £2.50, do the math, that's £5. It would actually be £8 rather than £11. So we'll have to have a look at what we call cascading a little bit later on. But the idea, there are certain people who would say, let's press yes to that. Certain people who would say that actually, if we go to our relationships, let's go to our relationships for a moment. Here they are. I put the price per night in this field. Well, some people would say, oh, that's okay if you know the price is never going to change. If the price is going to change, then you want to put it into your DVD copy price per night. But then you have to manually enter that every time you hire a film. That it's £1.50, whatever it's going to be. I'm going to leave it like this, and we'll look at cascading a little bit later on. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't matter too much, because at the end of the day, all we want you to do now is get used to the idea of creating a receipt for a customer that has the prices in it, and it also calculates the total amount of money that's been spent. Okay, have a crack at that now.